Hello everybody, welcome to the opening of Marta Zlatar's photography exhibition, The Garden Maidens. The exhibition is located in the Moda Kadıköy in Artship Resonance Istanbul space. Marta is here with us. Hello, Marta.
Hello.
First, I want to give you a very short introduction about her, and then Burak will take us to the exhibition space, and then we can talk together, ask questions, make comments. Maybe we can listen from Marta, her statement or her explanation about the work. I want to start by giving a very short introduction about her. She is originally from Colombia, right? Mm-hmm. Lives and works in San Francisco. She's a photographer, but she's also in the works in the diverse aspects of the cultural world. She's on the business side of the arts as well. She's an artist success coach and a consultant on the art business, and also she's a lecturer in the same subject. But today our main topic is her latest recent work, The Garden Maidens. So maybe Marta, we can just start by asking you to tell a little bit about the Maidens. How did they come to you?
Well, they came to me about 10 years ago when I would just sit in my apartment while I was working on the phone with a client or having my breakfast, and then all of a sudden a ray of light would hit the building across from me, and then it would hit my face, and then my face would be reflected on the glass, and then my reflection on the glass would blend into the garden that overlooks the window of my apartment. I live in downtown San Francisco in the back of a building with an avocado tree, and there's this wall where there's foliage, and so when the reflection comes, it just blends into the garden, and all of a sudden my face is there. And you know, among the leaves. And this kept happening. I mean, the first apparition was in 2009, and I would just shoot with my phone or whatever I had around and then put it away. I would not think more about it. And I just wasn't thinking that they were that important, but they kept showing up year after year after year. And then I decided a few years ago, when I started focusing more on my photography. Well, I've always been a photographer, but I've always been a bit of a closet artist. And so I decided it's time to pay attention to them, because I feel they're trying to tell me something. So in a way, they impose themselves on my daily life. And then I capture them. And then in the evenings, I would go back and see, what did I capture? And I would find little jewels. And I'd go, oh my goodness, look at what showed up. So I think it was time for me to start paying attention to them, and in a way, it's interesting to look at these photos are all me, but they don't feel like me. I truly look at these photos and I feel very detached in a good way, and it's like I feel like it speaks to maybe the multidimensionality of our being. You know, I am Martha in this body with this face, but there's all these parts of me that have showed up in these photos that I was not even aware of. So,
yes. And we will see the photographs, and then later on with the expressions and everything about the maidens, maybe we'll have more questions. But before we start, I want to share with you the curator's statement written by Slobodan, who is the curator of this exhibition, like all of the exhibitions we do in Resonance Istanbul. And I want to share my screen because the statement is already there. And Slobodin says, the Maidens' photographs capture the diversity of possible circumstances and atmospheres in a simple response to the moment. Their expressiveness transcends and enhances photographic context. The choice of Marta Zlatar's work is its genuine reaction to the moment, regardless of current media trends. Resonance Istanbul exhibitions of small-scale works is dedicated and discreetly celebrates this kind of approach. And with this statement, we now go to Burak, who is waiting for us, and I'm making him the main image on our screens. So here we are visiting the exhibition.
Let's see. He's not being the main person, is it? Okay, there we are.
I don't know how to make that big.
Ipek, the Burak's screen is not the main screen for all of us.
Really?
Or is it? It isn't for me. Is it for you guys?
No.
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 Let me try this.
There we go.
All
Does
right.
it work now? Okay,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mistake. Okay.
No problem.
I would just need his voice if that's intended.
No, it's not. I think Slobodin did a lovely way in the way they were put together. They're curated very, very beautifully.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
There we go. Actually, that photo right there was the first apparition.
Mm.
That was the first reflection that I received in 2009. Mhm.
But we're not looking at them chronologically, right? It's
No,
just
absolutely. They're
uh-huh.
not chronological in any way. Some are older than others. Some are very recent.
Mhm.
But I guess they're considered my most recent work because they've been finally gathered and grouped together and honored.
Mhm.
Very artistic, Burak. And I guess that is what is interesting, that my face blends into the wall or blends into the leaves. So
Mhm. And your impressions are different in each one. So your face, you as a person, is a different person in every of
right.
them, right?
And all of them, sometimes I look male, sometimes I look androgynous, sometimes really it's my face, but I don't feel like they're me whatsoever. I'm channeling something.
And
So
those
they
moments
feel
are
they feel like visitations, really.
yes, not very consciously made expressions, right? Just it comes.
It comes, it comes, and the reflections appear, and I grab the reflection, and sure, sometimes you do move around and see what shows up, but it's not until you go later and look at what you capture that you see the gifts, you see the little pearls.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize something showed up here that I was not aware of. And those are usually the best. And it's interesting because it's the ones that you edit the least and you fidget the least that are the most powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When
And
you try to manipulate, it feels too controlled.
In this selection process, when you decided to send the images to Slobodan and to Istanbul, how did you proceed? What made you select these ones, do you think?
Well, we did that process together with Slobodan. I showed him the work, and we curated them together based on what, on both of our opinions. We felt, there's some that are stronger than others, and we chose the ones that felt strong, and they were also impactful or meaningful, or they just had a force about them. So, but he helped curate, and I love that he's curated. It's so interesting because when you do it yourself, I have my own opinion about them, but it's so beautiful to have somebody else do it for you, because sometimes you're too close to the work. And for me, it's surprising to see how they were put together in Istanbul. I would have never thought of putting those two together, and they worked, so it's nice to. I also think it's important that once you birth the work, or the work comes through, that you let it be in the world and let it do what it needs to do, and that you let others see what are the connections that they're making, that you're not making. So and it took a while for me. It took a while to detach myself from the work, because I felt it was a bit narcissistic at the beginning. I felt, oh my goodness, these are pictures of me, and I go, no, they're really not. So eventually I slowly started detaching. Oh, that's not me. Like, not me in this particular, personality of me right now on planet Earth. But it's like, apparently these are all parts of me. So then I felt that the maidens came through, and they felt they needed to do something in the world. And I had a responsibility to them to let them be in the world and do whatever they needed to do. So that helps. That detachment helps a lot, to just let the work do what it has to do.
Do you think their journey continues?
Absolutely, they don't stop right now, because it depends. Certain times of the year I get the reflections, and they're showing up right now. And so right before I get ready to work, they show up, and I shoot, and sometimes they're terrible, And I'm going, if they're captured, I don't know. I have them in the camera. I go at night and I see it's like going fishing in a way. It's like you go out there, you capture what you capture, you go home, and you can later at night, you look at your photos and you go, oh, there's nothing here. Oh my God, yes, look at this little pearl. And then you edit the photo so that pearl comes through. So, but you get a lot of really bad photos, let me tell you, the process of finding the pearl.
But there's one thing I find very interesting, and Slobodin states that in the curator's statement as well. This is totally out of the general media trend. You don't try to look your best. They have their own personality in that sense, and you just let them out, I guess. Are you interested in
idea what's going to show up? I'm sorry?
No. I mean, you're not interested in any popular opinions or anything?
Zero interested in that. And it's weird because I'm not saying that is what I do. I mean, I want to make sure artists are have healthy lives and are creating exactly what they love, and they're being authentic creators. And if they want to show it to the world, I help them do that and teach them how to do that. Am I interested in doing that with me? You know, I want the girls to get exposure and to be seen by the world, but I don't care if they're trendy or I don't care if people like them or not like them. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm really trying to have a very detached approach to them and let them do whatever they want to do. But I don't even know what the trends are, to be perfectly honest. I have no idea what that means. And in a way, you know, I would say even many of my artist friends, and when people create, I find that there is in a way, you're a vessel of some sort. Something wants to become physical through you, and you're allowing that to happen. And I think the girls, I call them the girls, and the maidens are that to me. They wanted to come through probably because I've been in many ways repressing my own creative expression. I've been focusing on helping artists, but I haven't been listening to my own artists within, and they just decided to like, knock, knock, we're here, pay attention to us. And they just impose themselves in my life, and I finally paid attention. So
thank you for doing that. Great exhibition. Maybe our friends have some comments or questions.
May I again the first one?
Please.
Sure, go for it.
First of all, thank you. You showed us a kind of soul of a garden. It looks like a real soul. How can it be real? But I want to ask Marta, have you ever think naming your images, your photographs, like some others do?
They are named. They have names, and the names just come naturally. For instance, I can show you. I'll show you in the PowerPoint. We have a PowerPoint. I'll share it with you right now.
Yes, please, please.
Hold on 1 second. I'll do that. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, so can you guys see it?
Yes.
So for instance, we're gonna go here. Let's see. There's some that are not on the exhibition, but for instance, let's see. Hold on 1 sec. Well, we can, you know, I can show you, for instance, this one is called Embedded because I feel she's embedded in the grass. The tree ladies, by the way, they're called tree ladies, tree lady one, tree ladies. They're just called the tree ladies. They just came through. And actually one of the tree ladies, these are one of the few that I actually started experimenting with my own light source, because sometimes the sun doesn't come out and so I started becoming interesting. The tree ladies are more of an intentional project. I started using my own lighting source, and I was able to do this one with my own lighting source. But these are the only ones where I have everything else is completely the sun. It's a sun reflection. So this one's called apparition because it was the first apparition that I received. That one is on. This one is one of my favorites actually because I call this one 1492. This is I'm a very deep connection with early Renaissance, and I just felt that she is from the 1400s, and she just came through. And also, early Renaissance and all that is also a connection that I have with Slobodan. So I felt that she emerged from that century. This one is a very recent one, and I call that Blue Velvet, and I got a little bit that remind me of Blue Velvet, the movie by David Lynch, because if you see the movie, you understand why the ear is important. I had never photographed my ear, so I thought that was. And then these ladies. I don't even know what I'm calling these ladies. I know that they're in my website. They're what did I call these? So they do have names, Meta. They do have names, and some of them don't. Some of them I just really don't know what they are. But sometimes it's very easy to know what the name is, and sometimes it's just I have no idea. So that's when I go to other people and ask them, what does this mean to you? These to me look very ghostly, so I call them Ghost 1 and Ghost 2. So does that answer your question? And I don't think this one, does that answer your question, Meta?
Yes,
and
yes. Thank you.
To me, this one is one of my biggest jewels. This one just came through. I did very little manipulation. And this one is called Ladybird. She just came through and through. So they are sometimes named and sometimes they are not.
In the comment section, Craig shares Martha's website.
Thank you, Craig. Yes, and the titles are there.
And also, we have another message, I guess. Bilge says, my internet connection is not stable. I cannot open the camera. Real sorry for that. She says hi to all of us, to Dede. And thank you, Martha, for the exhibition. It's so inspiring. I just wanted to ask about the one photography with the reflection of ear without face. She said, especially it gave me a different sense. I wonder, how do you feel about that reflection?
The one with the ear that I showed?
Yeah, I guess that's the one.
Actually, I like it because it doesn't show my face. Yeah, I do. I just think I had never pondered about my ears. I've never photographed my ears until that happened. And it happened naturally. It was just, I was just bending over and I was just shooting, and it captured that part of the body, which is not something that I explore or have ever even looked at my ear really from that angle. So I just thought it was interesting because it's one of the photos, it's the only one where you don't see my face. And I like that.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things I love about them, Martha, is that we don't feel the camera in between the image and the viewer, even though it's a self-portrait. And so, but thinking about it as photography, as as a portraiture in a kind of mirror, then I think, wow, she must have been holding the camera or had the camera set up, and how to get the camera to capture the image. There must be all kinds of accidents and intuitive things that happen.
It's acrobatics. It's acrobatic. And thank God for editing and cropping, because sometimes if I do see that, you can tell that the camera's there. I chop it off. And that's why I chose that format of the square form. Well, I love the square format anyway, but it allows me to give room to the camera that is there, but I can chop it off if it appears in the image. So
But
those are the little tricks behind the scene.
they seem to me though that many of them are very direct, like there would be a camera in between you and the image, and so I think that's part of the magic of them is.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for that observation. It's for me, this exercise of showing you the work and listening to your reactions really helps me see the work very differently. So thank you for that observation, Fred.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing this work with us. It's so beautiful.
To me,
Thank you.
sorry.
Go ahead, Katrina.
To me, they kind of have a certain magical view into like it feels like it's a magic moment where two worlds intersect and something comes through. Like you know, it has a certain magic of something that's normally hidden, and it comes and is visible for a minute.
I agree with you. I feel that there's two worlds intercepting for sure. I mean, we live in this three-dimensional world, but I feel that they live in another dimension and they want it to be seen in this dimension. So, yeah, I agree. Two worlds intercepting for sure. Thanks. Thanks for saying that. Yes.
Hello.
Hildred, we can't hear you.
Yes, now can you hear me?
We're here, Diane. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me now? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I was very struck, like kind of amazed in the same vein as Craig has spoken about a self-portrait that doesn't have any of the qualities of a self-portrait, specifically when most people are having a camera shot on them, they have a reaction, they have an awareness. There is something in them that knows that there is a camera there, whether they block it out or react with, there's no awareness that you are being in the focus of yourself. And it's just astonishing. You don't get your reaction to being the subject, and that's so unique. I have no idea how you do it, but it's so precious.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had not thought of that. You guys have pointed something out to me that I was not aware at all. So thank you for saying that. I guess it does help that, you know, that the camera is not in front of the subject. The camera is right next to me, right? And so I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware of the camera. The camera is being, you know, capturing a reflection. So it doesn't have to look at me directly. And I think that helps to relax the subject. But thank you, Diane, for saying that. I love that observation. I had not thought about it. Mm-hmm.
Burak, are you saying something from Istanbul to us?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I can ask a question. And I love your photographs, really, and I have the chance to see them every day in this.
Yes, you're living with them, yes.
Yeah, I'm living with them. They're beautiful. And sometimes not through a reflection, but, you know, on the trees, on the texture of the trees, and in the clouds, we can see faces, you know, humans experience that. Do you think it's also related to your work? Do you experience that in your daily life? I mean, looking at the tree and in the texture to see your face.
So your question is, I'm trying to understand your question.
Yeah. So, you know, in the reflection, you're seeing yourself. But what I'm saying is sometimes, you know, we look at the clouds and we're seeing, oh, this cloud looks like a face.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. So do you think it's related?
I do it all the time. And the garden that I live in is really magical. My garden, I feel that I get apparitions, not only my face, reflection of my face, But I see things on the wall. I see things in the foliage. I see faces all the time. You know, my garden is very alive, or my imagination is very alive. Either one. Yeah. And that happens to me with the clouds too, all the time. All the time. I'm always seeing things in everyday life. So
I think Hildred's sound doesn't work, so she sends an email, a message. She says she sees some cultural effects like Ophelia, but also there seems to be a kind of metamorphosis with nature that she can feel.
yes, I love that. Absolutely. It's kind of like, yeah, nature and I are sort of blending in. And I love the idea of the human image coming out of the tree, or the human image coming out of the foliage. So I love that combination of nature with human, or human-like. Yes, love that connection. Thank you. Again, you guys are helping me see the work in a different way with your observations. It's beautiful.
The camera
Right
can
here.
pick up camera can pick up things that aren't there.
I agree. Yes, Maria.
It's quite strange. I think the Turin shroud is an interesting case in a way. You know, this shroud that they think is what Christ was buried in, but it was when it was photographed that they could suddenly see the image, the imprint.
Yes, indeed. And that's very true. Actually, camera can capture. I photograph the stars a lot. And the reason I do is because I can't see them with the naked eye. So I just shoot up in the sky and then I edit, and all these stars come through. And I find that incredibly magical. And I also know people who have captured spirits through camera. You may not be able to see it through the naked eye, but in New Orleans, where I grew up in New Orleans, I have known of people who have captured things that look very much like ghosts, and they're the camera captures them. They're sort of in between worlds. So yes, that's very true, Maria, that the camera can capture things that you have no idea are there.
But Jung had an experience, you know, when Jung went to Ravenna, he was very struck in the mausoleum of Galla Placidia. It's this beautiful mosaic, and Galla Placidia was a very unusual personage represented in this, well, obviously the mausoleum was dedicated to her. And he was so struck by these images, and he asked, he didn't have time to photograph them. So he asked for photographs, but what came back in photographs was nothing that he'd seen. He'd seen something quite different.
That is fascinating.
It's worth reading. It's in Memories, Dreams and Reflections, and it's to do with somehow this person, Galla Placidia, must have impressed him so that he saw something that actually wasn't in the mosaics at all.
How fascinating. I would love that. I would love to read that. Yes. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because you're very, very right. I think a lot about that all the time. And I do notice with my photography how I capture things that I did not really see. That's not what I saw when I was there. There's something beyond. Absolutely.
I wanted to say something. Someone who's on screen came and visited San Francisco when there was a season of performances from San Francisco. And we made a field trip, Tolga, Dean, Katie, and myself, to Muir Woods. And I remember Tolga was walking around with his camera, and he came back really excited, and he said, "You'll see later." And down the road later, this came, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's a photograph of a tree in Muir Woods.
Let's see. He's going to make it big. Okay. Yes.
Gary, we're
And that
seeing
was the other-
the screen reflected. Can you turn it just slightly? We might not see the
Screen?
reflection in the glass. Yeah.
Or if you, yeah.
I
That's
think
it.
this is the one, huh?
Just wait.
Oh, okay, so there you go. So Burak is showing it.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
I see the face. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's it. Yes, that's the
it.
one.
That's it. This happens. That happens in my garden all the time.
It was in the storage. Olga brought it.
Wonderful.
You're right, Carrie. That happens in my garden all the time. That's constantly happening on the wall outside my window. Yes, it's fascinating.
Watch this over.
Yeah. Yeah, the trees, the wood can be so, the texture can be evocative. So for example, we have this. Let me put it
Wait.
right. Look at this.
Oh wow, so evocative.
Some of my friend found it in the nature.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting.
with a sculpture all its own. Yeah.
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 And Marta, because the sun created the image, it's like nature's giving a face to nature.
That's beautiful. You're
like
right.
like the tree, but this is the interaction of the light of the sun and you and the glass and
Yes.
and the wall.
I love that. That's why I think those pictures are more special, the ones where the light source is of nature, as opposed to me creating a light source, which I can do. But it's, by the way, it's so hard. It's not easy to have your own light source. But I love that I am creating with nature. It's definitely a collaboration. Beautifully. I love these observations, guys. Thank you. You're enriching my experience of the work. Wow.
wow.
Anything else? Any other observations? Because this is very interesting to me. And also at the same time, I want to keep this not very long. So.
Well, this has been one of the most interactive events that we have made. I think everybody wants to be here and nobody wants to leave, but so we try to contribute. So it's really great to be all together. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us.
You.
Thank you, Martha. This is really a wonderful exhibition, and we're very happy to be together. And we send
Slobodan is greeting you all.
Thank you, Slobodan.
Thank you.
Slobodan.
Much love.
Much love, Slobodan. Much love.
And really, thank you, because you guys are the first ones to see the girls. They have not been exhibited in the public. I mean, this is it. You guys have been the first forum that has looked at them and admired them. And so I really am very grateful for the witnessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.